Hey everybody, this is Perch, and this is just kind of a collection of various news stories that are heading out. If you're trying to just kind of keep track of what's going on this week, here's a few things that are both coming out, plans, comics, other things. And so we'll just kind of run down the list of a bunch of them. The first one, the elephant in the room a little bit, is this rumor that a bunch of people have asked me to comment on. And there's not enough to go off of it other than a rumor. And so I typically don't have videos just talking through rumors. It needs to have at least some substance to it. And that's this Jon Kent is going to be revealed as gay. Now, what's interesting, and here's the line that's going to hook a bunch of people, and I just want to draw your attention to the lack of facts in this line. I know it's been mentioned on live streams and other places, but here's Bleeding Cool reporting on it, and it says, "But as for Jonathan Kent's sexuality, well, yes, that is definitely up for discussion." Discussion by who? They don't say. Before DC Comics 2025 G plans are abandoned, Jon Kent was intended to have a relationship with Ginny Sparks, Quantum of the Authority. And that's been referenced by a couple other writers and other things. So that's not complete rumor bait. People say that was a plan. And then in Future State, which we saw at the beginning of this year, they were certainly hinting or implying that Jon Kent and Yara Fleur were, either in a relationship or more than friends or other things. They had made a bunch of comments to that effect. Also, Jon Kent, just prior to Future State, in the pages of Legion of Superheroes, was in a relationship with Saturn Girl, which was more of a romantic relationship. That was by Bendis. So this is all kind of established behavior but this rumor came up, and then this is how Bleeding Cool responds to it. What's curious is that they cite no sources, they cite no proof for any of this. They just roll out this statement. But now, ? Jonathan Kent is a human Kryptonian hybrid, and DC Comics is currently intending him to be portrayed as a queer young man, though the exact labels are up in the air or up in the sky, gay, bi, pan. It may be a little while till this comes to fruition on the page. However, this is only one part of the parcel that is Jonathan Kent. Tom Taylor has stated that he gets one very good friend very early on by issue 3, someone he can talk to that can be a confidant like Damian Wayne. And they're going to have a big role to play in this. And they go on to talk through this Jay Nakamura character that was introduced today. And then the article concludes with, or he could be a complete reddish-hued herring. Nevertheless, he's the cover of Superman number 5, where the character is kind of cradling an injured Jon Kent while Henry Bendix is of the Authority. So anyway, what does all this mean? Well, like I said on kind of another show over the weekend, I think DC, on one hand, would probably like the headline and the article that Jon Kent, the new Superman is gay, or on the spectrum of whatever the exact queer label is, as Bleeding Cool puts it. But there would be some continuity work through. There would have to be a little bit of, what does it mean to be? And certainly they can roll out the very tired, very cliche, well, for Kryptonians, sexuality is fluid. I mean, they could certainly do that. It's somewhat eye-rolling. That would cause a lot of people to say, well, it's canon now. Superman is also, because if Kryptonians are fluid, that means all the Kryptonians are fluid, meaning Supergirl, Superman. They're all ours now. That can certainly be something that could come. And there are a lot of people who will comment on this video saying, see, they're doing it to us. Look what they're doing again here. Again, maybe, could be. At the same time, it would be self-defeating to some extent. You just rolled out Tim Drake as bisexual, or at least bi-curious, or whatever they're going with there. To immediately throw another character into the mix kind of defeats what they did with the previous character. Comics being comics, they tend to only pay attention to the one flashy object in front of their face at any given time. So that would be kind of a huge, blow to any kind of plans for Tim Drake. It would put him right back into the closet, no pun intended, while they focus on what Jon Kent is up to. So it could happen, but it still is sitting very much in the rumor. It's still sitting very much in the I was told by somebody who was told by somebody kind of way. What's curious about all this is Bleeding Cool decides to make an entire paragraph kind of dismissing and hand-waving out the geek clickbait and knee-jerk reactions of divisiveness and an anti-virtue circle jerk. Bleeding Cool would know. That's all I can say there. But anyway, this is it's time for Bleeding Cool to step in, talk to some actual sources, and run some spoilers to let you know what's going on. Again, they don't cite anything. If you read the paragraph, it's extremely dodgy in how it's listed. They weave in and out of facts and opinions pretty clearly, and also make a point to kind of hedge their bets at the end so that they can basically say they're right no matter which way this all goes. But we'll see how it all floats out. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I'm going to say I don't know that this matters. But I say that from the standpoint of Jon Kent is so far removed as a character that anyone currently cares about on any level, straight, gay, anything. Most people are still stuck back to I miss the Kid Super Sons team up world, and so it's unfortunately, no matter what mainstream press picks it up, whatever articles, if they go forward with it. At the end of the day, it's the son of Superman who was aged up after Superman's father, who was supposed to be dead but not dead, actually came back to life and took him on a multi-dimensional trip that caused him to be... I mean, like, the normie audience that is either pro or against this will have tuned out by that point.
Which is, by the way, like, such a myth.
The other thing going on with DC, there was this little tweet thread from Mags Visaggio talking about a sequel to A Game of You that apparently had Neil Gaiman kind of signed off on it and liking it. And this was something that they were going to do that was going to, basically kind of redeem Wanda and do some other things. But Mags mentions that COVID struck, the project was shuttered, and doesn't appear to be coming out after all. I think once you've done kind of a tell-all tweet thread, it's definitely not going to come out, and probably DC is going to be even less inclined to answer any calls at that point. But basically, there was a title, so I'm curious again in the comments below if this was a thing you would have been interested in. I on the surface, regardless of Mags or anything else, when you have a story that has a conclusion, which was A Game of You, which is a storyline within Sandman. The idea that there's going to be a sequel or diving back into that story is generally a no from me, regardless of what any of it is, because I think these stories should just stand on their own. But anyway, that was some news coming out of her. Fancy. To clear up something that has come out, Daredevil is having its final issue in November. It was part of the solicits, but Daredevil is definitely not getting canceled in the sense that it's, most books are canceled. Chip Zdarsky is noting that there will be something massive coming out. And it's, that basically the Daredevil series is on pause after Daredevil 36 because the events in the upcoming issue will spiral out of control and need to, there will be a big event. There will be a big kind of interrupting thing. And then, as Zdarsky said, they will resume their work on the main Daredevil title. So something like, think Heroes Were Born, or think they've done this before. I think even Daredevil has done it before when he was briefly kind of overtaken by the Hand or whatever, and he had taken over several blocks. I forget what that event was called, but they've done this kind of thing before. And we did see a Kingpin kind of Daredevil-ish setup in the Free Comic Book Day Spider-Man Venom series. So no, Chip Zdarsky Daredevil is not quote unquote canceled. It looks like, it's Zdarsky says basically, there's a series, it'll get interrupted for this event or whatever it is that they're going to do, and then the work will continue. And he says, will that be an issue 37 or an all-new issue number 1? I have no idea, writes Zdarsky. Oh, okay, come on, Chip. It will be a number 1. Let's just put it out there. The other thing some people have commented on is this book has been canceled because Marvel went the woke approach of putting Elektra into the costume. Believe it or not, the sales numbers have increased since they put Elektra into the costume, as you could completely expect. The title was not doing particularly well. I thought, did I do a sales analysis for Daredevil? I could swear I did, but it wasn't. It was just kind of plugging along. It was one of Marvel's lower selling on the spectrum of the titles that they do, and the Elektra Suddenly Daredevil spiked interest in the title. So the sales actually went up. So no, the title is not getting canceled because there's a girl in the Daredevil costume, to the opposite. And all of this just means that the sales bounced up just enough for Marvel to go, hey, let's dig that corpse some more. That's not an expression. Let's let's continue to mine this the success that we've had, and so they're basically making an event out of it. So now we get an event comic with the hopes of selling more. Undoubtedly, these are always the kind of moves that tend to tank runs and sales because you go too much too fast, and then you overdo it. But maybe that won't happen this time. Who knows? Who knows where this all goes? I think everybody has seen the new Spider-Man trailer, No Way Home. At this point, it's people are describing it as one more day. It doesn't really feel like one more day. It feels it doesn't look like a deal with the devil. It looks instead like the Doctor Strange kind of moment where he's this does not look like the erasure of Mary Jane. Definitely there's some similarities to the comic, but very, very different. There's no kid in the mix. They're just barely dating at this point. So but anyway, it looks a lot more like kind of one moment in time. Kind of back into the Titans world. If you've been wondering who Red X is in Teen Titans Academy, Tim Sheridan made a little interview saying, they definitely like the mystery. They like that people are curious about who Red X is. But if it was up to him, they would never reveal who is, if he had his way, you would literally never learn Red X's true identity. You learn about motivations and plans. You never learn who's under the mask because the mystery is compelling. Well, mysteries are compelling because in theory, you want to pay them off at some point. But anyway, if it was up to him, you'd never know. So short answer, probably no time soon will you find out who's under Red X. The question mark will be, will they wait so long to reveal the mystery that they actually tank the interest in the title? Like this has happened before as well. Like they tease and tease and tease and tease that they're going to reveal, and they sell off of this. Will you find out this time? So often that fans just get exhausted and just stop. And well, we'll see. Hopefully not. I can always appreciate a writer who wants to play the long game. Let's see where that all goes. Is there such a thing as a long game in comics anymore? I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a handful of news items for you on this. What day is today? Tuesday? It's Tuesday. Handful of news items for you on a Tuesday. Hope you're having a great day. Let me know what you're interested in buying and what you think about all the rest. And thanks for listening.
I literally can't even think.